Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. I'm your host Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge TIE Echelon, released in 2019. This vessel was first seen in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge #1, the comic book. And you probably thought I was lying, but here it is. I've been reading Star Wars comics for a couple weeks now. It's not the worst comic. It does have a lot of our heroes that we've seen time and time again, like Han Solo, Hondo, Dr. Aphra, and basically all these heroes and some new heroes and villains. Everything rotates around Black Spire Outpost. And in short, so far, this is just something to get the hype up, and it's a commercial for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the theme park in Walt Disney World. But regardless, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're looking for something interesting, check out the book. Now, before I get started, a massive thank you goes out to my good friend and coworker Barb, who with her daughter went down to Disney World a couple weeks ago and picked up many of these for me. And my God, some of these look really cool, and I can't wait to share them with all of you. So again, thank you very much, Barb. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you like the reviews. So the TIE Echelon, what is it? Basically, it's a small troop and cargo transport labeled as an assault shuttle. It's used by the First Order, and it could fit 12 crew, cargo, and if you read the comic book, it could fit a whole tread speeder in here. So that sort of gives you the size of this bad boy. And besides being able to transport goods and troops, it does have shields and advanced sensors and comms to detect enemies. To me, it looks like a mix between an Imperial cargo shuttle, a TIE fighter, and Kylo Ren's command shuttle. So for the size of this particular miniature, which you can only get at Galaxy's Edge, it comes in at about 3.5 inches long and just about 3 1/4 inches tall. So it's actually a real nice miniature here. So like always, we do have a lot to cover. We're going to take a look at the mold, the paint, put it on a stain compared to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. Alright, let's kick this review off looking at the mold. Like in all my videos, I will go over all the major sections of the ship. And then we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. So let's begin with the center, and then we'll move our way out to the wings. So in the front, we have our cockpit or command bridge. Looking very nice. You can see the black there. A little covered by the gray paint, but looking dope. As you can see from this angle, it looks just like an Imperial cargo shuttle. Pretty interesting. Coming to the bottom, we have 4 screws holding it together. Copyright crap right there. Disney, looking good. We have our main entry ramp. And right here in the front is a turret. You can see it has that nice box shape and 2 barrels coming out. Very nice. In the back, we have 2 holes. Those are peg ports for the stand. Looking pretty cool. Coming to the back, we have our pylons on the sides, very nicely detailed. And a total of 6 engines, which are molded beautifully. They just don't have the paint on there. But what are you going to do? It looks pretty cool. For the main body, we can see all this nice armor plating. Very detailed, very unique. I actually like this quite a bit. It's different than what I've seen before, and that's what makes it special. Coming to the wings. In the front, we have 2 heavy laser cannons, and that's on each one. We have our wing brace. All nice details here. And then, of course, we have our solar array wings, which look amazing, nicely detailed. Now, some people would argue it could have been better. Well, yeah, any little miniature could, but I like it. It's something different, and it pops in my collection. And not only are the outsides detailed, but the insides, as you can see. Even the bottom. Fantastic stuff. An amazing piece. So now, let's get a closer look. Alright, having a closer look, we'll begin with the bottom of the craft, then work our way to the top, and then those wings. So anyway, we can see a screw here, our turret right there. And if you look closely, you can see the barrels are actually rounded, which is pretty nice. You know, from a distance, you can't see that detail, but I appreciate it. Now, the whole front here is angled, and you have raised sections all over. And I think that looks amazing. Very nice. Coming down the main body. Again, we can see a lot of raised sections here. Coming down, we have our main entry ramp, which looks pretty cool. This area here and here would be where the pistons are. Very nice. Coming back down, we have our 2 peg holes for the stand and another screw coming to the engines. Very interesting. And here's the pylon section, looking good with another screw. And you can see all the different paneling on there. Great stuff. And then we have our pylon section, which looks pretty good. Nice details. Same goes for this side. And then coming up, there's our copyright crap, our screw. Very nice. So let's check out the fronts real quick. Looking very good. There's our cockpit. And then the other pylon. Great stuff. Lots of little details here. You know, I really think if they did away with this dark gray and hit it with a black wash, all these little details would pop. And then here we have our cockpit. You can see how they have that gray paint over the windows, which, not really a fan of that, but I do like the design. The mold is amazing. Borrows heavily from different things in the Star Wars universe, but it works, I'm not going to lie. Here we have our pylon. We can see some nice detail in there. Great stuff, and that goes all the way back to the engines. Same for this side. See how it curves up? Very nice. Lots of angles on here. I'm digging it. You know what it sort of reminds me of? You Star Trek fans should back me up with this. It vaguely resembles the NX Defiant or the USS Defiant. You know, with the weapons on the sides, and it has that weird shape that the Defiant had, where you had the deflector in the front that hangs off, just like here in the front. And then it sort of tapers back to the engines. And you can see all the nice line work in here. Lots of recesses and raised paneling. Fantastic stuff. Now for the engines, I dig them. I just think they lack in paint. And you can see they are fully molded. We have the lip on the bottom and the top, which is beautifully molded as well. They're recessed in. And come on, Disney, if you just put little dabs of blue in there or red, that would have looked amazing. But it is what it is. Pretty cool design nonetheless. So now let's take a look at the wings. We'll start with the interiors, and you can see, look at all that detail. That is amazing. That's what I'm talking about. You put black wash on there, all that hidden detail is just going to explode. We can see it on the sides here. Looking very cool, very unique. I like that quite a bit. And then, of course, we have our wings. And they're not checkers or boxes. It's just stripes going left to right. Nothing really to write home about, but pretty cool. And that's the same for this side. There's no real differences whatsoever. But we have our nice detail right there at the brace. And then it goes up. Looking pretty nice. Checking out the bottoms now. Let's turn this bad boy over. Again, you can see some beautiful detailing right in the interior here. Great stuff. Little flash right there, but we have our laser cannon barrels looking good. And then the bottom of the wing, which doesn't look bad at all. Very nice. And that's the same for this side. You can see the wing is nicely done. Paint's a little off here and there, but not too bad. And then we have our detailing, which goes from the back all the way to the front. And I love these little details here and there. Great stuff. For the exteriors, again, looking pretty good. You can see how the interiors of those lines in the paneling is rounded. So that's pretty cool. We have some raised sections on the wing. Looking good. We have our laser cannons. And look at that detail there. Very nice stuff. And then we have our brace section, and this has some amazing details here. I love this section back here. Beautiful. Very nice. And then we have the top of the wing, which again has some nice raised sections. And then it goes up. Very nice stuff. Some raised sections right here at the top. Some gray paint all over the place. But, I don't know. For the other side, again, we have the same exact nice details. There should be no surprises here. Gray paint all over the place. And coming down, beautiful detailing. I love this section very much. I think the exteriors and interiors of the wing brace is probably one of my favorite parts on the ship. Very nicely done. Of course, we do have plastic. You can see it right here sort of popping out. I guess they didn't do a good job trimming all that. Then we have the bottom of the brace and the wing. Very nice. And that's everything for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. You know, everything I did talk about is mostly everything I found on the internet and in books. There's really not too much about this vessel. In short, I think the design is very interesting. It's unique. It borrows heavily from several different designs in the Star Wars universe, and I feel like it works. Where it sort of fails in a way is the paint. I don't think that the paint works with the model, and it sort of covers up detailing. Geez, the paint even covers up the paint. But what are you going to do? Speaking of paint, though, let's have a look at that next. And now looking at that paint on the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge TIE Echelon, this bad boy only has about 4 different colors, believe it or not. The first color up is the main color, which is a nice gray. It's the main color of the ship. And you can see they tried their best to match the diecast to the plastic wings. And it works. You know, it's not the best, but I've seen far worse. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, on top of that gray, we do have dark gray, which is basically splattered all over the place, even on the windows. Which, you know, it is a shame, but what are you going to do? You can see the paint's on there a little bit. Ugh. Not too bad, though. And then we have that dark gray scattered all throughout. Again, not too bad. I think a black wash would have did perfectly fine, but it is what it is. Now, there is no paint on the engines. There's no engine glow at all, which is a shame, but it is what it is. Moving on from there, we do have black for the cockpit windows, which is very nice. And then black for these solar panels, or radiator panels, whichever you would like to call them. You can see there is a little gray paint scattered throughout. It is what it is. But the interiors and exteriors are painted. And for the most part, it's very neat. And finally, we do have silver, which is on the tips of the laser cannons. So all in all, it may not have a million colors, but it has it where it counts. So that does it for the mold as well as the paint. So now let's put this baby back on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. And just like most Star Wars ships, it does come with a nice base. We can see the First Order symbol there looking good. And then we have our pylon with connector pins on the top and a little peg. So take that, slide it in like so. Hear that click. There we go. Pretty nice. Now, on the bottoms of these ships, we have 2 peg holes right there. Just take the stand, match it up with the pegs, press it in, and just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for a quick size comparison with the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge TIE Echelon seen in the center. First, on the right-hand side, we have the Star Wars Titanium Series ARC 170 with a fantastic paint job. And finally, on the left-hand side, we have the Hot Wheels Star Wars Cloud Car. Very nice, brand new as of 2020. Can't wait to review it. All in all, some very interesting ships here. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge TIE Echelon, released in 2019. Again, Barb, thank you so much for this amazing ship. Without you, I wouldn't have any of these, and it really means a lot to me. Now, even though I was hard on this ship with the paint, I am ecstatic to have this in my collection, and I'm going to tell you guys why. The mold. It has lots of tiny details throughout the main body and those wings. As we saw when I was zoomed in, it has tons of detail. It's very cool looking, it's very interesting, it's different, even though it does borrow heavily from other ships in the Star Wars universe, and even though it doesn't have any moving parts or anything like that, I still think it is well worth the money because this is a fantastic looking miniature. Now for the paint, this is where I think the model sort of drops a little bit. We have a beautiful, detailed ship, and you know, it's a nice color gray. I'm not going to lie, I love the light gray. The black is done well, the silver on the cannons is good. Where it fails is this heavy, dark gray paint they just slap on top of everything. And it's not a lie, I'm not exaggerating. They literally just slopped it all over the place. It's even on the cockpit windows. So, you know, what are you going to do? In my opinion, I would have painted this all gray, put the black on there, put blue on the engines, or red, and then what I would have done is take a nice wash, maybe even a brown and a dark black, who knows, and cover the whole ship. And what that would have did is bring all these little details, these hidden areas to life. And it would have made the ship pop and really explode on the shelf. I think Disney sort of dropped the ball with this particular miniature because this, out of all of them, is probably my favorite looking vessel because of how unique it is. And you would think that if Disney was only selling these at their amusement parks, they would have put the extra effort into it and really made it special, besides just quickly slapping some dark gray paint on it and calling it a day. But as I like to say, it is what it is. Now for the stand, it's different than what we're used to seeing on the channel, but it works. It's not too tall, but it holds the ship in very securely. It's actually tough to get it off the pegs, and it works. It really does. And that's basically everything I have to say about the TIE Echelon today. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, and if you'd like to see new videos every Thursday, subscribe. Again, to all of you out there who are taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch my content, I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody.